Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer. For this video, we're going to be going over Guardian's Remembrance. This is a Remembrance guide for Guardian that's going to go through everything in detail. To get to Chapter 4, you're going to have to beat the three-headed dog and get a couple of memory fragments. First things first, though, we're going to start at Chapter 4 because we can jump right in here right now to 4 because once you beat that dog, get a couple memory fragments or whatever, you will have up to Chapter 4 unlocked. It's just 3 chapters of reading, and then we're going to hit Begin Remembrance. This is basically where we're going to be starting. As you may know with the Remembrances, they give you great rewards, fantastic rewards overall. You get really powerful characters when you're done with these, so keep that in mind as you're going through this. Generally, they are worth it. The relics are going to be amazing. Now, first things here that we're going to do is we're going to talk to the Iron Menial, and we're going to exhaust his dialogue. He's going to have a mission for us. It's going to be a boss we're going to have to defeat in Limveld. It's going to be a golem boss, not too bad at all, but we're going to have to queue up. I recommend queuing for the dog because it's the easiest boss in Expedition to get through. Maybe that or Augur, but anyway, after you exhaust his dialogue in its entirety, we're going to have to search for this golem and find this golem in Limveld, and when we find this golem, we're going to have to take him down. Now, if you're playing with randoms, and it can be difficult to pull them towards you. I kind of over-exhausted his dialogue here, just to make sure I was good, but anyway, the objective was added there. And yeah, if you're with randoms, you're going to probably have a little bit of a hard time getting them over to the objective or convincing them to come with you. It's not too bad overall, though. In all honesty, if you just go over there most of the time and mark it, a lot of people will know what you're doing. We're going to queue up for the three-headed dog. I'm not going to show much of the expedition besides the golem part. In a second here, we're going to go over that. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, too. As far as the chapters, they're all time-stamped in the description. A few of them are just going to be reading throughout. All the Remembrances always have some degree of reading. Now we're jumping onto the golem. Now for the golem, he's going to be in Limveld, not far from where you land. He'll be marked on the map. You're just going to go over to him and you're going to have to enact this fight. Now this can be difficult. I did it at rune level 1 before we're really even doing anything. Probably shouldn't have dragged my team over here this quickly, but ultimately you're able to take him down if you concentrate on his ankles and try to bring him down for that poise break. And after that, you're just going to punish him. It's the same as facing any other golem, really. The only difficult part I found is you're probably going to have to fight him at a lower level because it's going to be very difficult if you're not with a coordinated group to convince them to come over there later in the game. He's typically going to be at the top of the map or bottom of the map. Wherever you spawn, he's going to be nearby. And odds are later on, you'd have to backtrack to him. If you don't want to have to backtrack to him, just fight him at level 1 or 2. He is somewhat difficult at this level because he can one-hit most of the characters in the game, but he's not overly difficult either. You can see the same strategy here is just going after his ankles repeatedly. I do go down here once. Luckily, we were able to get up and take him down shortly. But yeah, I just wanted to show the fight just to make sure that you knew a general strategy of fighting these, just to go for their ankles as much as you can and try to get your team over there fast early in the game because, again, if you do not do that, you're going to have a problem later in the expedition, and this is something that you have to take down to get the item you need to continue the quest. And of course, with the Remembrances, again, they're really worth it. The relics are absolutely amazing. They may take some time, but so what? You're getting good rewards for it after all, and even if you finish a couple of them for the characters you like, it's not that bad. It's not too many hours. We got the stone stake here, and we're going to be jumping into the next step here soon. Again, everything is time-stamped in the description as we go. That's going to make this a lot easier overall. And now we're on the next step. So we are back here at the Round Table Hold, and the next place that we're going to go is we're going to have to talk to the Iron Menial again, and we're going to probably have to exhaust his dialogue here. Yep, we do have to exhaust his dialogue. And after exhausting this, behind him, it should be the end of this Remembrance, this part, and then that's going to be bringing you shortly to the next chapter. It's kind of how these work, after all. You kind of have to make sure that you exhaust their dialogue. I tend to do that way too many times. Yeah, I didn't see that here for a second, just turned around, and there it is. But that's the end of the Remembrance right there, and then we're moving forward to the next step. And the next step that we're going to need is if you don't have another memory fragment, I think at this point you'll have to defeat a boss, possibly the three-headed dog again. It's up to you, though. Again, Augur is a really easy option for you as well. If you have the memory fragments, though, and you've already been playing as Guardian, most of the time it's going to be unlocked, and you're going to get that stone stake as a relic reward, and then you're going to be going into the next one. We're going to be starting Chapter 6 here soon for the Remembrance, but again, you may need to beat a Night Lord first. All right, and now for Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is going to be the next section for this. So again, time-stamped so you know where you're at. We're going to talk to the Iron Menial again, if that's how you say his name, and we're going to exhaust his dialogue, of course. I do that again a little bit compulsively where I just hit it and make sure. You don't really have to talk to him here. I talk to him just in case, but yeah, I don't think at this point you have to talk to him much. So I probably could have edited this part out of it. But anyways, once you're past him, you're going to have to find this merchant and then talk to him again. First things first, though, let's find this merchant. He's going to be in this room. He's right here. He's going to sell some pretty basic relics, nothing really great. This merchant's going to disappear, so if for some reason you think you need something, buy it. But I highly doubt you need anything from this merchant, as he doesn't really offer anything good. It's mostly just one passive boost, and I think there's like 4 options or something like that. You can check out his inventory, but truth is I didn't really care because I kind of knew what I needed to do at this point anyways. So I'm going to go back to the Iron Menial, and I'm going to talk to him about the merchant. But of course, first you pass out, and then there's a little bit of a scene afterwards. It's up to you whether you want to listen to the scene or not. That's totally up to you in terms of whether you want to go through the entire dialogue. As far as Nightreign's lore, for me, it wasn't as interesting as Elden Ring or Souls games. But of course, since this is particular to his lore, when you get up, feel free to listen to the dialogue. If you don't care about it, though, of course, you can skip through this part entirely as far as the dialogue. Continue on, and we'll move forward, of course, to the next couple of steps. But anyways, we're going to be getting up from here and going on and moving towards the next step, doing what we have to do. There's going to be another mission in Limveld coming up here soon, so that's not going to be too bad. But of course, if you're playing with randoms, the next one can actually be even harder than the first one, so I will mention and talk about that. Apologies if I sound like I'm rambling or whatever. It's kind of late, and honestly, like, I just edited this way, so I decided to voice it over, not cut anything, and just show everything. But there's really not like a ton to talk about through some of this. But anyways, we're going to get rid of him. Eliminate him is the objective here. Once you eliminate him, that part's going to be done. Again, you can't access his shop again, but I'm pretty sure whatever's in his shop, you're probably not going to want anyway. But yeah, once he's dead, he's just going to say a couple things. And again, I didn't really pay attention to the lore. You can if you want to. Some of them have cool scenes, like I did Revenant. She had a cool scene that was interesting in her backstory. I guess Guardian really didn't get that. Overall, the lore, though, again, for me, I was more into Elden Ring and Dark Souls lore. I feel like Nightreign, it was a little bit lacking, but it is, I guess, interesting to an extent. Supposedly, though, it's not canon, so it's also less interesting in that way, too. We're going to complete the Remembrance here and continue on to the next step. And, of course, we are now going to be going into the next chapter. And the next chapter, when we open the journal, is going to be Chapter 7. And, of course, as usual, it's timestamped. And now we're on Chapter 7, beginning it right now. So Chapter 7 is going to be the next section that we have to find the merchant in Limveld. And once again, if you have a coordinated group, you're going to have a much better chance. Again, I play with randoms mostly. I do have friends that play the game, but sometimes I'm just looking to play a match or two, and it's easier just to hop in with randoms. It can be difficult to pull them into this one, though, because you're probably going to want to find that merchant early and get it over with. And it should spawn near the castle. So knowing it's going to spawn near the castle could be a little bit out of the way of where you typically want to go early. Now, you can get it done later if you're confident your team's going to end up back in that spot. But for some reason, if you're with randoms and you don't think they're going to end up back in that spot, if you get anywhere near it, I recommend going over to the merchant. We're going to have to start up an expedition now. And once we start up the expedition, this is going to be the last one I think that you need to do. There is one section I'm going to mention ahead of time before the next and last chapter. Before the very, very last chapter, you may have to defeat Night Aspect or get some more memory fragments and have Revenant unlocked to beat his final chapter. So keep that in mind. That'll make your life a little bit easier. Of course, you're going to find this merchant near the church. I think he's going to spawn there in Limveld. Once you talk to him, you're going to pay 10,000 rooms for the tome that he has. And that's going to be your objective right there. Like, that's literally what you're going to have to do. And getting that done, you're going to go back. And now we're on to the last section, which is going to be Forgiveness or Not, which is going to end with Recluse. So here we're going to go and talk to the Iron Menial, where you're going to let him know that we picked up the tome on our mission, as that's the completion of the next step. And then we'll move forward from there. And just go behind him to complete the Remembrance. Now, you might need to defeat Night Aspect or get more memory fragments here. I may have mentioned that or not. Can't remember whether I did. But yeah, you might have to in order to unlock the next chapter and get that ready. But ultimately, we are now on Chapter 9, assuming you've gotten the memory fragments. And you've basically been playing as Guardian. I'm not sure whether you have to beat Night Aspect or not. You may have to. If for some reason it's not coming up, make sure that you beat him. You're going to have Revenant unlocked as well, which I think would also require Duchess to be unlocked. But anyways, having those requirements, you'll have chapter 9 available. And now we're going to talk about the end chapter, the final chapter here, in which we end up beating the Remembrance and getting what we need. There's going to be a book on one of these shelves. I was looking for it. Again, I could have edited this out, but I want to show you where I was at and where I ended up. And I ended up at the right here. That's where the book is that you're going to have to read. Whether you want to read it or not, it's up to you, but it's just going to say something. I clicked on it twice to make sure there was nothing additionally. I do that typically with any Souls games just to make sure. And then we're going to have to go to the garden here. You can check your map to find Recluse. We're going to have to talk to Recluse for the end of Guardian's Remembrance and getting those awesome relics. And of course, I took the long way around here. Didn't go to the right, which is probably what I should have done, but it doesn't matter. I end up there anyway. And of course, we're going to talk to Recluse, and then it's up to you. This is going to lead to an option of forgiveness or not. I chose forgiveness. I don't know what it changes in her objective personally. I did not look that up. I'm not sure what it changes. For me personally, though, it's easier to go the forgiveness route. I feel like that would be the better reward ultimately, but I'm not sure if it's any different one way or another. So for me, again, I chose to forgive her misdeed. It's up to you what you choose here. Again, do not know the difference between the two, whether there's going to be any difference in rewards at the end when you get the Remembrance. But for me, it was easier to go the forgiveness route. Plus, that's kind of like me in general, so that was an easy pick for me. And once this is done and exhausted, which of course there'll be more dialogue, which I'm skipping through as fast as I can, we're going to be going back and completing Guardian's Remembrance. You get, I believe, 2 relics in total or so. Awesome ones that are going to really increase a lot of your skills and things that you can do as Guardian to make them more powerful. At the end here, by the way, I want to say, I know I rambled through this one. It was kind of late, and I just edited this together real quick because a lot of people were asking me about the Remembrances, and I got to make another guide for Guardian. But if you want to, feel free to sub, like, share, etc. Of course, if this helped you, it is timestamped in the description, so if I was going too slow for you or rambling too much, you could just go through the chapters there. Everything else is reading that's not timestamped, so it should be pretty easy to follow. I will catch you guys in the next video. That's the end of the Remembrance, and be sure to sub.